There comes a point in life where no matter how hard you try, nothing seems to move. You push, you plan, you pray, yet the doors remain closed. It's confusing, sometimes even painful. You begin to question yourself, your efforts, and even your direction. But what if this moment isn't about failure? What if this is not a sign that you are losing, but a sign that you are being guided towards something deeper? Because sometimes when you can't force things anymore, it's not weakness, it's divine intervention. We live with a quiet belief that if we plan carefully enough, work hard enough, and push consistently, we can shape life exactly the way we want it. This belief becomes deeply rooted in the way we think, the way we act, and even the way we pray. We begin to feel that outcomes are a direct result of our effort alone, as if everything is within our grasp if we just hold on tightly enough. At first, this mindset feels empowering. It gives a sense of direction and control. It makes you feel responsible, disciplined, and determined. But over time, something begins to shift. You start to notice that despite all your effort, certain things remain out of reach. You plan everything down to the smallest detail, yet things unfold in ways you never expected. You try to hold situations together, but they continue to slip through your fingers. This is where the illusion begins to crack, because control, as we often understand it, is limited. It is incomplete, it is fragile. You can control your actions, your intentions, and your choices, but you cannot control outcomes, people, or the timing of events. Yet, many people spend years exhausting themselves trying to control what was never theirs to control in the first place. You might find yourself constantly overthinking, replaying conversations, trying to fix what has already happened, or worrying about what could go wrong. You attempt to predict every possibility, hoping that by doing so, you can avoid pain or disappointment. But instead of gaining peace, you become trapped in a cycle of anxiety and pressure. There is a heavy burden that comes with believing you are in control of everything. It creates an invisible weight on your shoulders, making you feel responsible for outcomes that were never entirely yours to carry. When things go wrong, you blame yourself. When things don't work out, you feel like you failed. And when life doesn't follow your plans, you feel lost. This illusion also affects how you deal with relationships and opportunities. You may try to force people to stay, to understand you, or to treat you the way you expect. You may push situations to develop faster than they naturally would. You may hold on to something long after it has started to fade, simply because you believe you can still fix it if you try harder. But forcing things often leads to more resistance. The more you try to control every detail, the more you feel things slipping away. The tighter you hold on, the more pressure builds. And eventually, you reach a point where you feel emotionally and spiritually drained. What makes this illusion even stronger is the fear of letting go. Letting go feels like giving up. It feels like losing control completely. It makes you uncomfortable because it requires trust in something you cannot see or predict. So instead, you continue to push, to force, and to carry the weight, hoping that eventually something will change. Yet deep down, there is a quiet realization that begins to surface, a realization that not everything is meant to be controlled, a realization that some things unfold better when you step back rather than when you push forward. This is not about abandoning effort or becoming passive. It is about understanding the limits of your control. It is about recognizing that there is a greater wisdom at work, one that sees beyond what you can see and knows what you do not know. When you start to see through this illusion, you begin to understand why certain things never worked no matter how hard you tried. You begin to see that your struggle was not always meant to change the outcome, but to change you. Human beings are naturally impatient. We are created with a desire to see results quickly, to feel progress immediately, and to experience outcomes without delay. When you want something, you don't just want it, you want it now. You make plans, you set timelines, and you expect life to move according to the schedule you have carefully designed in your mind. This sense of urgency begins to shape how you view everything. You measure your success by how fast things are happening. You compare your journey to others who seem to be moving ahead more quickly. You start to feel anxious when things slow down, and even more restless when nothing seems to be happening at all. You might find yourself constantly asking, "Why is this taking so long?" Or "What am I doing wrong?" The delay starts to feel like a problem, like something is broken, like you are being left behind while others are moving forward. But what you often fail to see is that your sense of timing is limited. It is shaped by your emotions, your desires, and your immediate perspective. You see only what is in front of you, only what you can measure, only what you can understand in the present moment. You do not see the full picture, the hidden details, or the future consequences of what you are asking for. There is a deeper wisdom in the way things unfold, a timing that is not based on your urgency but on what is truly best for you. This timing takes into account things you cannot see, people you have not met yet, circumstances that have not aligned yet, and growth within you that has not been completed yet. Sometimes what you are asking for is already written for you, but the timing is not right. If it were given to you too early, it could harm you, overwhelm you, or lead you down a path you are not ready to handle. What feels like a delay is often a form of protection, a way of ensuring that when something finally comes into your life, you are strong enough, wise enough, and ready enough to receive it. Yet, human urgency does not understand this. It pushes you to rush the process. It makes you feel like you need to chase, to force, to speed things up. It convinces you that waiting is a sign of failure, that patience means you are falling behind. This is why waiting becomes so difficult. It is not just the absence of what you want, it is the battle within yourself, a battle between trust and doubt, between patience and frustration. You may continue to pray for something, but at the same time, you feel restless because you cannot see when or how it will happen. During these moments, your faith is being tested in a very subtle way, not in whether you believe, but in whether you can trust without immediate proof, whether you can remain calm when everything inside you is pushing you to hurry. Delays have a way of revealing what is inside your heart. They show you how attached you are to outcomes, how dependent you are on timelines, and how difficult it is for you to surrender control. They bring out your fears, your insecurities, and your impatience. But within this waiting, something is happening that you may not notice at first. You are being shaped. Your character is being refined. Your perspective is slowly changing. You are learning lessons that could not be taught if everything came to you instantly. If everything happened according to your urgency, you might never develop patience. You might never learn to trust beyond what you can see. You might never realize that some of the greatest blessings in life require time, preparation, and growth before they arrive. There is also a quiet beauty in things that come at the right time rather than the fast time. When something finally reaches you after a period of waiting, it often carries a depth and meaning that you would not have appreciated if it had come earlier. It fits into your life in a way that makes sense, in a way that feels aligned, in a way that brings peace instead of chaos. Human urgency often focuses on speed, but divine timing focuses on alignment. It is not just about when something happens, but how it happens, why it happens, and what it brings with it when it arrives. And sometimes what you thought was a delay is actually a redirection. Sometimes what you were waiting for was not meant to come in the way you expected. The waiting period slowly shifts your direction, guiding you towards something different, something better suited for your path. In these moments, you begin to see that not everything you desire immediately is meant to be fulfilled immediately. That there is a wisdom in the waiting, a purpose in the delay, and a plan that is unfolding even when you cannot see it. There are times in life when you approach a door with hope, effort, and sincerity, only to find it closed. At first, you assume it's temporary. You try again, perhaps with more effort, more planning, more determination. But the result remains the same. The door does not open, so you knock harder. You change your approach. You improve yourself. You adjust your words, your actions, your timing. You convince yourself that maybe you just didn't try enough the first time. But even after all of that, the door still refuses to open. And this is where confusion begins to grow, because you start to question everything. You wonder if you are not good enough. You begin to think maybe you are the problem. You replay your steps, searching for mistakes, analyzing every detail, hoping to find something you can fix so that the outcome will change. When doors close repeatedly, it does something to your heart. It slowly chips away at your confidence. It creates a sense of rejection that is deeper than words can explain. You may even begin to feel as though you are being pushed away from something you truly wanted, something you believed was right for you. But what makes it even more difficult is that your intentions may have been pure. You may have prayed for it, worked for it, and genuinely believed it was good for you. So when it doesn't happen, it feels not just like a loss, but like a contradiction to everything you hoped for. You begin to hold on tighter. You tell yourself that persistence will eventually break the barrier, that if you just refuse to give up, something will finally change. And while persistence is often a beautiful quality, there are moments where what you think is persistence slowly turns into resistance against what is being written for you. There is a subtle difference between a door that is temporarily closed and a door that is firmly shut for a reason. But from your limited perspective, both can feel the same. You cannot always tell whether you are being tested to continue or guided to step away, so you keep pushing, and with every failed attempt, the weight becomes heavier. The disappointment grows stronger. The emotional exhaustion begins to settle in. You may find yourself feeling drained, not just physically but spiritually, as if something inside you is quietly telling you that this path is not meant to continue, yet your desire refuses to let go. Repeatedly closed doors are not always a sign of failure. They are often a form of communication, but not in a way that is loud or obvious. It is a quiet redirection, one that requires reflection rather than force, one that asks you to pause instead of push. What you often interpret as rejections is not always rejection in the way you think. It is not necessarily a statement about your worth, your ability, or your value. It is not a declaration that you are not enough. It is a protection from something you cannot yet see, or a guidance towards something you have not yet discovered. Sometimes, if a door were to open for you at that moment, it could lead you into a situation that is not right for your growth, your peace, or your future. But because you only see what you desire, you cannot fully understand what lies beyond that door. This is why repeated closure can feel so frustrating. You are trying to move forward, but something keeps holding you back. You are trying to enter, but something keeps blocking your way. And instead of seeing it as guidance, you see it as an obstacle that must be overcome. But not every obstacle is meant to be overcome. Some are meant to redirect you entirely. When a door closes once, you may question it. When it closes twice, you may try harder. But when it continues to close despite your effort, your sincerity, and your persistence, there comes a point where you are being invited to reflect more deeply. Not everything that you chase is meant to be yours, and not every closed door is a missed opportunity. Sometimes it is a quiet mercy that you will only understand later. There are moments when what you are asking for is not being given to you, not because it is bad in itself, but because it is not meant for you specifically, or it is not meant for you in the way you expect, or it is not meant for you at this time. And in those moments, the repeated closing of doors is not there to break you, but to slowly detach your heart from something that is not written for you. It is a process that can feel painful because it goes against your desires. It challenges your expectations. It forces you to confront the reality that not everything you want will come to you, even if you believe it is good. But within that process, something deeper begins to happen. You begin to see patterns. You begin to recognize that no matter how much you try, the outcome does not change. And that realization, although difficult, carries a hidden message, a message that invites you to stop forcing your way into places you are not meant to enter, a message that encourages you to trust that there is wisdom behind every closed door, even when you do not understand it, because sometimes the doors that refuse to open are guiding you toward doors you have not even considered yet. Letting go is one of the most difficult things a person can experience. It goes against your instincts, your emotions, and everything you have been holding on to for so long. When you care deeply about something, whether it is a person, a dream, or a plan, you naturally want to keep it close. You want to protect it, nurture it, and see it grow into what you imagined. So when you are faced with the idea of letting go, it does not feel like wisdom at first. It feels like loss. You begin to question yourself. You wonder if you are giving up too soon. You think about all the effort you have invested, all the time you have spent, and all the hope you have carried in your heart. Walking away from something like that feels heavy. It feels like you are abandoning a part of yourself. This is why many people resist letting go for as long as they can. They continue to hold on even when things are no longer working, even when the signs are clear, even when their heart feels tired. Because holding on, even if it hurts, feels more familiar than the uncertainty of release. There is also a deep fear attached to letting go. A fear that once you release something, you may never find it again. A fear that you are losing something valuable. A fear that nothing better will come. This fear keeps you attached, convincing you that holding on is the safer choice, even when it is quietly draining you. But what is often not realized is that holding on can sometimes block what is meant to come into your life. When your hands are tightly closed around something that is not meant to stay, you leave no space for something new to enter. You become so focused on preserving what you have that you cannot receive what is waiting for you. Letting go is not simply about loss. It is about release. It is about creating space. It is about trusting that what is meant for you will not require you to exhaust yourself in order to keep it. There is a certain kind of peace that begins to emerge when you stop forcing things to remain the same. When you accept that not everything is meant to stay, you begin to see life differently. You begin to understand that change is not always something to fear, but something that can carry hidden mercy within it. Letting go also shifts your focus from control to trust. Instead of trying to manage every detail and outcome, you begin to surrender to a greater plan. This does not mean you stop caring or that you become indifferent. It means you release the need to control what is beyond your control. In that release, something within you starts to soften. The constant tension, the overthinking, the emotional struggle, all of it begins to ease. You are no longer fighting to hold something in place that is trying to move away. You are no longer exhausting yourself trying to maintain something that is no longer aligned with your path. It is important to understand that letting go does not erase the value of what you experienced. It does not mean that what you had was meaningless or that your effort was wasted. Every experience carries lessons, growth, and moments that shape who you are becoming. Sometimes the purpose of something in your life is not to stay forever, but to teach you something for a certain period of time. And once that purpose is fulfilled, holding on beyond that point only creates pain. There is also a quiet strength in letting go. It requires honesty with yourself. It requires you to acknowledge that something is no longer working, even if your heart wishes it were different. It requires courage to step away from what feels familiar and face the unknown. Many people associate strength with holding on, with enduring, with never giving up. But there are moments where true strength is found in release, in recognizing when something has reached its end, in understanding that continuing to force it will not bring it back to what it once was. Letting go also teaches you detachment in a healthy way. Not detachment in the sense of becoming cold or distant, but in the sense of not tying your entire sense of peace to something temporary. It allows you to care without becoming consumed. It allows you to love without losing yourself. As you begin to let go, you may still feel moments of sadness, moments of longing, moments where you question your decision. This is natural. It is part of the transition. But alongside those emotions, there is also a gradual sense of relief that begins to appear, a lightness that you did not feel before, because you are no longer carrying what was weighing you down. And in that space that is created, new clarity begins to form. You start to see things from a different perspective. You begin to understand why certain things did not work out. You begin to notice opportunities, paths, and possibilities that were not visible to you before. Letting go does not always bring immediate answers. It does not always replace what you lost right away, but it opens a door within you, a door of acceptance, trust, and readiness for what is yet to come. It allows you to move forward, not with bitterness or regret, but with a deeper understanding of life and a stronger connection to what truly matters. There comes a moment in life when you finally understand that not everything is meant to be controlled, chased, or forced into existence. You begin to see that the struggles you faced, the doors that remained closed, the delays that tested your patience, and the moments that pushed you to let go were not random or meaningless. They were shaping you. You realize that every time something didn't work out the way you wanted, it was not a sign that you were failing, but a sign that you were being guided away from what could harm you and gently directed toward what truly belongs in your life. The exhaustion you felt from trying to control everything begins to fade when you accept that your role is not to force outcomes, but to trust the process. That your effort matters, but the result is never fully in your hands. And in that realization, something shifts within you. You stop chasing what keeps running away. You stop forcing what refuses to stay. You stop holding on to what is slipping out of your control, not because you don't care, but because you understand. You understand that what is meant for you will not require you to break yourself to keep it. You understand that what is written for you will find its way to you, even if the path is different from what you expected. You understand that sometimes the greatest blessings come after the moments you thought were losses. And slowly, you begin to feel a sense of peace that was not there before. A peace that does not come from having everything you want, but from trusting that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Because when you stop forcing things, you are not losing control, you are finally aligning yourself with a plan far greater than your own.